This is the best camera combo I've ever used as a landscape photographer. Let me explain. What's up y'all, so Project Photography back with another video, and today this right here is the Nikon Z6 III with the 14-30, my wide angle of choice, with the Z30 and the 28-400, my telephoto of choice. And put together, this makes the ultimate Nikon Z camera combo that I personally use for landscape photography. And I've been using this combo for the past 4 months. And these two cameras have been huge for helping me capture my landscape photos. And a big part of that has to do with the lenses that I'm using. Now, being able to have a wide angle and a telephoto lens allows me to get pretty much any composition that I want. But with a wide angle lens in particular, we're capturing more expansive landscapes with more complex elements, and honestly, we can get things like foreground elements and exaggerate it a lot more, which is perfect for capturing things like beaches, valleys, and other types of compositions that may have a lot of different subject matters. Whereas with a telephoto lens, you're taking images that are a lot farther away, like for example, mountain peaks or far away isolated beach cliff sides. We're having more simplified compositions as a result. And the great part of this setup is that I can cover all the way from 14mm to 600mm. But you might look at this lens and think, okay, wait, it only goes to 400mm, and you'd generally be correct. But the thing is, I'm pairing this with my APS-C Nikon Z30, which adds a 1.5 times crop to pretty much any focal length that you throw on it, which is able to turn this lens into a 42 to 600mm, which is absolutely insane. That's a really long focal length that is really great for capturing those super long subject matters. And for me, I found that if I'm using this lens, there isn't a composition that's far away that I can't capture. If you can't capture it with 600mm, you won't be able to capture it with any other lens. And that's a huge reason I love using my APS-C size sensors on telephoto lenses, because you're able to get those longer focal lengths. And the cool thing is too, with 42mm on the wide side with an APS-C size sensor, you're only losing about 12mm in terms of the gap between these two lenses. That's not bad at all. And honestly, I kind of prefer it that way. And as you guys can tell, I love pairing that full frame sensor with the APS-C size sensor. I think the dynamic combo allows you to just have different lenses that have different bodies that kind of achieve different goals. For example, of course, like I kind of mentioned before, with the APS-C size sensor on here, we're able to extend that focal length, but we may have issues when it comes to dynamic range and image quality. But the cool thing is we can shoot HDRs for that to have better dynamic range overall. So that's why I feel like having that telephoto lens on the APS-C size camera actually helps the APS-C size sensor, because a lot of your subject matters when they're far away won't be moving. Whereas on the other side of the coin, having the wide angle with something like a full frame camera, I mean, that's the camera you're going to be using 90% of the time anyways. Majority of my landscape photography is captured at a wide angle focal length. And being able to shoot wide means that you're going to get a lot of the sky, obviously, and that's going to cause some very high contrast situations. And that's exactly why you want good dynamic range for those kind of scenarios. You want to make sure that the foreground looks clean when there's a lot of shadows, as well as the sky. You're able to retain a lot of those highlights. And to me, having a full frame camera and an APS-C camera just makes too much sense. But a big advantage to this combo is its lightweight form factor. We have the Nikon Z30 plus the 28-400 coming in at 1130 grams, whereas the Z6 III and the 14-30 comes in at 1235 grams. And my goal as a landscape photographer when it comes to gear is to have as small and lightweight gear as humanly possible. And this combo allows me to do that. By having smaller and more lightweight gear, we're able to travel farther, pack more stuff inside of our bags, and overall have a more pleasant experience when we're out shooting landscape photography. You don't want a lot of stuff on your back because you have to carry it everywhere you go. And even though this combo isn't necessarily tiny, it is very compact for what it is. I can comfortably fit both these cameras inside of my Shimoda Action X30 very comfortably without any issue. But you can also fit both these combos individually into my 3-liter P Design sling, which is meant to have small mirrorless cameras, and these cameras fit very comfortably. And as a landscape photographer, I'm always worried about my camera's size and weight, and these cameras both hit that mark for me when it comes to it being lightweight and compact. But one other major important factor of having both these Nikon cameras is the extremely similar controls and layout. For example, all the buttons are pretty much in the exact same spot except for the ISO and record button, where it is switched on the Z6 III versus Z30. But we also both have flip screens, which is great because when I'm very low to the ground, I will be able to have both horizontal and vertical orientation for both of these cameras. And also we have dials on the front and back, which are great. I have them both controlled to shutter speed and aperture, and it makes it really convenient and easy to switch between the two cameras without having to worry about, oh, these controls do this while these controls do this. It takes a lot of thinking out of me switching between the cameras, and it's really seamless when I'm on shoot. And also, because both these cameras are Nikon cameras, the colors and the files and how the images come out are pretty much the same. Of course, APS-C versus full frame will look slightly different, but a lot of those colors are the same, and I can edit it in very similar fashions. Also, one pro tip is that I name the files on the Z30, Z30, and I name the files on the Z6, Z6 III. So it's really easy to see in post-production which files are which ones are the telephoto, which are the wide angle. I just found that easy when organizing my files. And now I know a lot of photographers, when they're out on shoot, make sure to have different lenses, and they just switch the lenses on shoot. And for me, I don't like to do that because I want to make sure I have two camera bodies so I don't have to actually take off the lenses and put it on, exposing the sensor to the elements. That's not good, especially when you're out shooting landscape photography outside, when you have things like the beaches, mountains, deserts. There's a lot of elements that can get inside of your sensor, and you really don't want to have to deal with that. So having two different camera bodies allows you to switch between the two without having to expose your sensor. And that's why I never leave the house without both of my cameras. But is this the greatest camera combo ever invented in the history of Nikon cameras ever? Probably not. But to me, this is the best camera combo that I've personally owned and used for landscape photography. I mean, my goal was to create a camera combo that achieved two things. I wanted to have an insane focal length to be able to choose from, and we definitely did that. I mean, 14 to 600 millimeters is a lot of focal length to work with. You're not missing any compositions. Other major part was that we wanted to have very compact, lightweight gear that performed exceptionally well. And I think this also does that. I mean, the Z6 III is absolutely no slouch when it comes to landscape photography. In areas like image quality, its use, performance, stuff like that is exceptional when it comes to the Z6 III. And the Z30 is an absolute blast to use. It's so fun, compact, and small. I love using this camera for landscape photography and almost pretty much any other form of photography as well. And of course, you could have a better wide angle camera, like for example, a Z8 or something, but I've been so comfortable with the Z6. I mean, I've used an original Z6 since it came out in 2018. And to me, having the Z6 III just makes so much sense for me personally as a photographer and as a content creator. And these are great tools to be able to go out and capture those amazing landscape images. And honestly, I'm really happy with my setup. I don't think there's anything that I would want to change intentionally. And of course, you would want that nicer, better camera gear, but I just don't feel like I have to change this from what it is. It accomplishes all my needs exceptionally well. At the end of the day, these are just tools to be able to capture landscape photography. What really matters is going out there and actually shooting photos. And to me, that's something that I really want to focus on and make sure I get more of, especially in these next coming months. I want to go out and shoot more, go to different places outside of my local area, and experience more of the world. So let me know what you guys think about this camera combo, and I want to hear what your favorite camera combo is down in the comment section down below for landscape photography. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.